So today's video is going to be a little bit different because we're going to be talking about some theories surrounding a brand new sneak peek that Dress to Impress just posted. And when I say sneak peek, I mean a very mysterious one. Like genuinely, this might be one of the most confusing sneak peeks they've ever posted. Because the devs basically dropped this image across all of their social media platforms, and there was almost no context at all. No explanation, no event announcement, no release date, literally nothing. So, of course, the entire community immediately started making tons of theories about what it could possibly mean. And in today's video, we're going to go through all of the possibilities, all of the speculation, and what this sneak peek might actually be hinting at for the next Dress to Impress update. Because honestly, there are a few directions this could go. So, let's talk about it. First, let's actually talk about the sneak peek image itself. If you look at the picture, it's basically a floor design with a really cute aesthetic. The colors are bright, playful, and very stylized. It has this almost graffiti-inspired design with soft pastel colors and some cute shapes around it. But the interesting part is the caption they posted with it. Because instead of giving any kind of explanation, they only used a few emojis. And those emojis included purple flowers, a bunny, stars, and purple heart vibes. And that's literally it. No explanation. No hint about what the update is. No Roblox event listing. Nothing. Which basically means the community is left to speculate about what this could possibly be teasing. And honestly, the emojis are kind of random. They definitely match the overall aesthetic of the image, but they don't clearly point toward one specific thing. So that's why people immediately started thinking this could be teasing something much bigger, like a collaboration. The first thought that a lot of people had, including me, was that this might be a soft launch for a collaboration. Because if we're being honest, Dress to Impress hasn't done a major collab in a while. And considering how big the game has gotten recently, it would make sense for them to start working with bigger brands, artists, or creators again. So when people saw the aesthetic of this sneak peek, the first thing many players thought about was Newjeans. Now, I know some of you might already be thinking the same thing. Because the bunny emoji, the bright colors, and the overall vibe of the image really does give off Newjeans energy. Even the color palette feels similar to their branding and aesthetic. And if you look through the comments on the sneak peek post, a lot of people actually mentioned this theory as well, so I know I'm definitely not the only one who thought that. Now, of course, I'm aware that Newjeans has been going through some things recently, so a collaboration might be unlikely. But from an aesthetic perspective, it really does match the vibe. So I thought it would actually be really cool if Dress to Impress did something like that. Although, realistically, it might not be the case. The next collaboration theory that people keep talking about is Katseye. And if you've been part of the Dress to Impress community for a while, you probably already know that a Katseye collab is something the community really wants. People have been asking for it for months. And honestly, even the developers seem aware that the community would love that. But in my opinion, this sneak peek doesn't really give Katseye vibes. Some people said it could represent a debut concept, but if Dress to Impress were actually doing a Katseye collaboration, I feel like they would lean more towards something inspired by their most iconic aesthetic, like the gnarly concept, which is what really helped them go viral. So, while I definitely think a Katseye collab could happen in the future, I'm just not fully convinced that this specific sneak peek is hinting at that. But again, that's just my opinion. Another theory that started circulating in the community is that this could possibly be teasing a Zara Larsson collaboration. And this theory actually started because Dress to Impress and Zara Larsson followed each other on Instagram recently, which immediately made fans suspicious. Because usually when brands or artists start interacting online like that, it can sometimes hint at a collaboration. So naturally, people started wondering if this sneak peek was connected to that. But personally, I'm not really getting Zara Larsson vibes from this image either. When I think about Zara Larsson's aesthetic, I think more about summer vibes. Like beach energy, sun, bright outdoor visuals, almost like a festival-style aesthetic. So if Dress to Impress ever did a Zara Larsson collab, I feel like it would make way more sense as a summer update. This sneak peek feels more like something spring-themed instead. Now here's where things start getting really interesting, because after posting that first mysterious sneak peek, Dress to Impress posted another one, and this one actually gave us a huge clue. In the second image, you can see the same general aesthetic, but there's text that says "Coming soon, Paris to Tokyo," which is a pretty big hint, because if you remember, the current Dress to Impress map is inspired by Paris. So if the next update is saying Paris to Tokyo, that could mean the game is transitioning into a Japan-inspired theme. And honestly, that would make a lot of sense. In one of my previous videos, I actually talked about a theory that the next Dress to Impress update could be Japan-inspired, and the reason for that theory came from something hidden in the free play apartment update. There was a small detail that hinted toward Japanese culture. At the time, it was just speculation, but now that we've seen this Paris to Tokyo teaser, it feels like that theory might actually be correct. Which would mean the next update could feature Japanese fashion inspiration, Tokyo street-style aesthetics, Harajuku-inspired outfits, and new cultural themes. And honestly, that would be such a cool direction for the game. Japan has some of the most creative and iconic fashion styles in the world, so it would fit Dress to Impress perfectly. Now, when you think about it this way, the emojis from the original sneak peek start to make more sense. The flower emoji could represent spring, the bunny emoji could represent Easter, and the stars and purple heart could simply match the color palette and aesthetic of the update. Which would mean this isn't actually teasing a collab at all. Instead, it's probably teasing the spring or Easter update, and the theme of that update might be connected to Japan. So instead of a collaboration announcement, it's likely just the developers teasing the overall aesthetic and theme of the next seasonal update. Now there's one more thing that made people start speculating even more. A few days ago, Dress to Impress posted an image of Lana and Lena with Pokemon. And if you didn't know, Pokemon is obviously extremely popular in Japan. So when players saw that post, some people started wondering if it could hint at a Pokemon collaboration. Now personally, I think that post was probably just fan art or an homage, but it's still interesting timing considering we might be getting a Japan-inspired update. So who knows, maybe the devs were just referencing Japanese culture, or maybe it was just a cute post. Either way, it definitely added more fuel to the speculation. So, at the end of the day, here's what everything seems to point toward. The first sneak peek gave us flowers, bunny emoji, stars, and a pastel aesthetic, which suggested something spring-themed. Then the second sneak peek revealed Paris to Tokyo, which strongly hints at a Japan-inspired update. So when you combine those two clues together, it seems very likely that the next Dress to Impress update will be a spring or Easter update with a Tokyo-inspired fashion theme, which honestly sounds amazing. But of course, these are still just theories, so we'll have to wait and see what the developers officially reveal. Anyways, girlies, that brings us to the end of today's video. Let me know what you think about this sneak peek in the comments down below. Do you think this is teasing a Japan update, or do you still think it might be hinting at a collab? I'm really curious to hear your theories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on those notification bells so you don't miss any of my future Dress to Impress videos. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, girlies!